Alright, so we're going to be doing some, I guess you could say distributor work. I've got a timing recurve kit, and I've got a new cap and rotor. When I put this motor together, of course it's got new plugs and plug wires. I reused a cap that I had, which is one of the GM style, the Delcos with the aluminum little lugs on it, and then you just reuse the rotor that I had also. And I want to go ahead and just replace it. I like the brass style better. This is a brass one that I had. And the reason I didn't use it is it's got some wear on the inside. So I went ahead and just used that aluminum one that I had. But also, I may swap this coil on. This coil looks brand new, and I thought it was a cheap aftermarket one. Because there's no name on it. But it does say, come on, focus, made in USA on it. So I don't know what brand this thing is, but we may use this coil. We'll have to look at the one that's in it. That one looks new. Looks like a new coil. And then I was going through all my old distributors, and this one has a GM module in it, and the GM modules are supposed to be better, so I'll probably pull this module out. I think that other one's got a board warner or something. I remember it was blue, which I think is board warner. I can't remember. So I may pull that out. I don't know if this one's good or not, but if it's not, we can always put the other one back. And I've got this old coil. I'm not going to use this one. It's kind of got this little box of stuff. I never used this one. I had one on another vehicle, and I don't like them because when you put this on there, it kind of covers up the plug wires, where you almost have to loosen the coil up to get the plug wires off. It's kind of bad design. So, knocking stuff on the floor. First, we'll start off by taking the cap off, and I always just leave the plug wires on the cap until I'm ready to swap it over, and then I swap each wire one at a time. And I will go ahead and just lay that to the side, take the cap off and lay it out of the way while I do the work on the distributor. So I'll kind of give you all an overview. The cap just has these little springy, you just push down and turn. They lock in on the distributor right here, so you just push them down and turn them, and there's 4 of them, and they come off the, see, just push them down and turn them, and then you get the cap off. So let's get started. When you take the cap off, don't forget to undo this wire that comes from the distributor from the cap, and also don't forget to undo, you'll have a power wire coming into the, show you here. You got a, that's your distributor wire that plugs in back here. Then you have a battery wire that plugs in under here. And then if you got a tack, you have a tack wire. Alright, so you'll take, here's our new cap. And this set, this is just the MSD cap and rotor. This one, the MSD setup, comes with 2 rotor buttons. I call them rotor buttons. What is the other name for them? What do they call them? Rotor bushing. Comes with 2. If you're running the MSD like 6AL or something like that, that does the multi-spark discharge, you run the, this is a solid bronze rotor bushing. whatever they call it. And this one's the carbon with the bronze tip. And so for pretty much stock setup or stock ignition setup, even if you're running an aftermarket coil, you would still use the stock style with the carbon. That one just goes in like that. Then you put your little rubber washer like that, and the little rubber pad like that, and then coil goes on top. So I've got the cap off and laid to the side. I've got the old rotor, and you can see this one is got some wear to it. Not looking too good. So what I'll do, I'll just throw that on that distributor and just put that one together. This is the I say the good style. I think you can convert the other ones though. This is the computer controlled with that electronic spark control or whatever. It's got the extra plug on it that would plug into somewhere, a wire coming out of the firewall. It goes into the little electronic spark control unit. And that's got 60 weights on it. Let's see what this one's got. This one's got 105s. This distributor's pretty well worn. But we will take a look at our weights on this one. This is not easy to do with the camera. This has got 106s. So what we'll do, I'll pull these off and we'll go put our aftermarket ones on. Alright, so I got the springs off and I got the little clips off. What you have to do is match up which orientation this one is, because they can go the other way. So I take my old one, or my new one, and I lay it on top. I can see which way. You can see the little notch right here, and these will go in that notch. So kind of a good idea when you got the old one on to kind of see which way it's supposed to go. See, and that's the correct way. Now that I know the correct way, I can pull this off. Well, may have to get a screwdriver. And anyway, I'll get a screwdriver and get that off. But you can see how much slop these bushings on the little weights are just worn out. Just so sloppy. Both of them. So that would affect it. So anyway, I will I'll get that off, get the new one on. Alright, recurve kit is installed. I'll show you a little more of an overview of that. Get all this stuff. Okay, so once you get the springs off, springs go here. Once you get the springs off, you can get the weights off. But you also got to get this center piece off. It's got a C-clip on each post. Take those off, and it pulls off. It's pretty simple. Just make sure you get the direction right. This one's even worse. No bushings left. So, next, module. So we'll get that off. So I'll just keep showing y'all most of it on this distributor because it's a lot easier to show you here than it is on the truck. So, of course, the module plugs in like that. I've got this one all cleaned up. Like I said, it's a GM module. It had a little bit of grease on it. It looked like wheel bearing grease or something. Or maybe it's just yellowed, clear dielectric grease or something. But that, you know, two little bolts and that comes out. You just wiggle the wire connectors out. This is the one that was on the truck. It's blue, no name on it. It just says 0208 on it. It's aftermarket some kind, I don't know. It had no grease on it. So I'm glad I pulled it off anyway because it needs to have some on it. So what I'll do, go ahead and put some grease on this one and install it back on the truck. Hopefully it's a good one. I don't know. There may be some way of testing it, but I don't know. If it doesn't work, I'll put the blue one back on it with some grease on it. So I pulled the cover off the coil. That's not good. And that's even worse. That's rust. Because evidently, of course before it was on this truck, this cap must have sat upside down and got water in it. And of course, sat in the cap and rusted the coil. It seemed to be working fine. So, yeah, that's not good. So, we will be using that coil. It looks a lot better. And the only other cap I have is this one. It's a aftermarket one. It's been painted. I don't really like it. I think I'll clean up that cap real good and reuse it because I don't really like that one. But I have the stock Delco Remy black cap. It looks better. Let me get that cleaned. Oh, and when you put the rotor on, or the rotor on, you'll notice there's a little notch on this side, not a notch over here. So make sure, you know, the notch side, see, notch side goes on there. Okay, so I've got the coil installed on the new cap. Make sure you get your connectors right. If you need to look back, B+, of course, red, and then your ground, black, and then the C-, I think, is the igniter wire. But anyway, it's yellow on this one. I think some of them are white. So I've got the cap all cleaned up. Cap goes on. So I think red and black looks pretty good. Then I just need to put the two cap screws in place. So I'll get those in place, and then I'll swap. See, I still got the plug wires on that cap. I'll pull them off one at a time and put them on the new cap. Alright, so I've got the new cap on. I'll go ahead and put it on the distributor. And now I just move my wires over. And I gotta plug my wires back into the. I'll go ahead and do that first. We've got our power wire plugs in. That one's plugged in. I don't have a tack, so then we just have this wire here. And my clip is broke on the power wire, so I will wrap a little tape around that and then throw a tie wrap around there, just to make sure that it doesn't pop out. Alright, cap's back on. Moment of truth. Move our cord. Close up. Put our old weights up. Go crank it up. See if the ignition module is any good. Fired right up. Thanks for watching.